Adam should take us away.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to WCBN Sports on 88.3 FM Ann Arbor. Today's production at WCBN Sports has the Michigan field hockey team, 7th ranked in the nation, facing off against the 6th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions as they come to Oker Field right off State Street here in Ann Arbor for today's matchup to open the Big Ten season for both teams. I'm Adam Bressler, and I'm joined by Kendall Spencer today. How are you doing, Kendall?
I'm doing great, Adam. How are you?
It's a beautiful day for field hockey. Going to be a really great game, too. Both teams are ranked in the top 10, top 7, actually. Both teams have gotten some early losses, however, too, as they enter Big Ten play. I don't want to be too early on this, but I think this game might have implications for the whole Big Ten standings and Big Ten season title.
Oh, for sure. The Big Ten is absolutely one of the most dominant conferences for field hockey, if it's not the most dominant conference. So pretty much any game you're playing against a Big Ten opponent is going to be seen as a must-win, especially once we get on later in the season. The Big Ten tournament has potential to, really dictate how things are going to be seeded going into the playoffs. Yeah, it's only the first Big Ten game, but when every Big Ten game kind of feels like a playoff game, you've got to be thinking about that right now.
Yeah, the Big Ten is very strong, and among those strong teams in the Big Ten, you got to think the Michigan Wolverines are near the top, if not the top. Had a dominant performance last year, cut short in the NCAA playoffs. Funny enough, hosted at this very field where we're at now. Had to be pretty bittersweet to go home so early on the home turf.
It was a real heartbreaker, too. Ended in extra time, just felt like it was within their reaches. There was a goal that was disallowed too. So, real heartbreak end to last season. But, this time, starting Big Ten play, you have a chance to kind of control how you go into that and maybe have a bit more success, especially at the Big Ten tournament this year.
Exactly. And the announcer here at Oker Field is introducing the two teams, and the fans are loud. Players returning to the bench and getting ready to play. Should have the first quarter of this game coming up momentarily as Michigan field hockey faces off against Penn State in this 7v6 national rankings.
The Wolverines this season have 2 losses, but both are to teams that at the time of the loss were ranked number 2. The first one came to North Carolina. That was in North Carolina, and that's UNC Chapel Hill. 5-1, that was that loss. And then number 2, number 5, Louisville, who they lost 2-1 just in their last game, which was on Sunday.
Yeah, both Chapel Hill and Louisville are 2 nation-class programs in field hockey. All of them compete every year pretty much in the national standings, so going up against both of those and losing is heartbreaking, but it is unfortunately not too surprising. Michigan still maintaining that 7th ranked position even after that loss to number 5 Louisville. Going into that game, they were number 4, so they had a little bit higher ranking earlier and have skidded a little bit, hoping to stop the skid a little bit against the number 6 Penn State team. I think it's safe to say who wins this will probably advance higher in the rankings.
The Wolverines are taking the field to the sound of Pump It Up, which is always a welcome noise here on campus and in Ann Arbor, as the starting lineups for the Wolverines are going to consist of Bryn Zarilla, Abby Tamer, Pilar Oliveros, Tina Angelo, Alana Richardson, Nina Apula, Katie Anderson, Rosie Hope, Anouk Veen, Laura Clark, Catherine Peterson, and Anna Speaker at goalie. Strong lineup for the Wolverines, a lot of returners, a lot of people who have dominated and shown success throughout last year, with the leading goal scorer on the team being Abby Tamer at number 4.
2 teams getting ready for the face-off. Beautiful day in here in Ann Arbor. It's like almost it's sky blue.
Alessi's going to launch it into the Wolverine zone, but it's going to be collected by Oliveros, who send it over to the right side, to the far side of the field. Apula taking it up now. That pass is going to reach Alana Richardson, but she's going to get past her and fall into the hands of Penn State. Got her trapped in the corner, almost got the ball there, but it's going to be recovered by Apula, who's going to send that over to 26, Laura Clark. Who's going to push the ball up, and it's going to be, there's going to be a penalty there, and since it's inside the semicircle, oh, not a penalty, just they're going to start. They're going to give the ball to the Wolverines. All the way back near midcourt, Veen has it. Send it over to Oliveros, who accidentally passes the ball right to a Penn State fielder, but is recovered by the Wolverines. Intercepted by Penn State, but there's no one around. Someone comes streaking up, but it's just going to go right past number 3, Sophia Gladio for Penn State.
We get another whistle there. Michigan has really controlled possession so far, but neither team has really put much up.
That's Gladio again. She's got it inside, but there's a whistle. It's going to remain Penn State possession. Gladio looking around for someone. She's got 3 defenders on her, as she's going to hit it into the feet of the Michigan defenders and send it back to Kelsey Love, number 33. Knocked out of bounds by Abby Tamer. Love is going to send it in. It's going to be received by number 8, who manages to get it inside, but it's to a Wolverine. They knock it out of their semicircle, and they're going to be taking the... It was Rosie Hope taking it out. She got stopped, and now it's going to be handed off to Anouk Veen to start this. Oliveros with some fancy stick work there, as she looks for someone to pass to, being played pretty heavily by number 19, Grace Wallace. She manages to get it out into Catherine Peterson, but it's going to get knocked out of bounds. Wolverines ball, though.
I think it's fair to say it's been a quiet game so far. No shots, no corners.
Oliveros skies it. It's going to go out of bounds, and it'll go switch possession to Penn State. And it's going to be Anna Simon bring the ball in. Almost picked off by the Wolverines, but it gets to Grace Wallace, who has it knocked away by Wolverine and will keep possession of it. 2 defenders on her. Knocked out of bounds by Bryn Zarilla. They're going to bring Love back in from closer to midfield for this. Manages to get the ball past Abby Tamer, but it's knocked out of bounds on the pass by Anouk Veen. Scrapping for it in the corner, Penn State manages to maintain possession, but knocks the ball out of bounds. It's going to be, say, they went off a Wolverine. They're not able to get anything out of that far corner. Knocked off Zarilla, but it will maintain Penn State's ball. So they'll send it all the way out to midfield. Pass received by Love. We'll send it back up, but it's intercepted by Oliveros. No, not Oliveros, my bad, Laura Clark.
The score is still 0-0, yet to have a single shot so far today with 11 minutes left in the first.
Now it'll be Oliveros with possession of it. She's going to send it back in towards the semicircle to Veen. She's going to send it out to the far side to Hope. Hope launches it up, almost for a great pass to Abby Tamer, but it's just going to go out of bounds before Tamer could get there. And Penn State will recover as they send it back into their own side of the field. Tamer really close on the offensive player, and she'll sky it. Manages to stay in, though. It's going to be a race to see who gets it, and it's going to be recovered by Gladio, who will take it in. As there is a call against Penn State, the Wolverines will maintain possession again. Launches it right in front of the goal to Oliveros. Veen sending it up to Hope. Hope up to Richardson. or Anderson, my mistake. Anderson manages to knock it over the stick of her defender. Apula has it now at midfield. Zarilla over to Peterson, gives it off to Abby Tamer. They're inside their own semicircle now as the ball goes out of bounds, and it's going to be Penn State's ball.
Great defensive work by the Nittany Lions. Good coverage and prevented potentially a shot on goal.
Knocked out of midair by Wallace as it's taken up the field by Alessi. To Gladio. Gladio's managed to make her way in between 3 Michigan defenders, but one will catch up. They'll pass it up to Tamer. Tamer has it now on Penn State's side of the field, on the near side of this press box. Manages to work around her defender. She's going to look for a good shot, but it's going to get deflected off the Penn State stick, and Penn State will recover it. Inside towards the goal. Penn State still has it. They'll knock it out side of the circle, try and get up to that first line. Good breakout for Penn State so far, as it's going to be Alessi taking it up, but it's stopped by Veen, and they're going to give it back to Penn State.
I think they set a low stick on that one.
Ball was knocked out of bounds by Penn State. Wolverine possession. As Hope skies it. Tamer tried to get that, but
Yeah, another whistle there. It's going to go back to Penn State.
I think it may have been high stick.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
The attempt to clear it is recovered by Veen, who will send it up the far sideline to Apula. Apula hits it up the line of a Penn State stick, but gets knocked around until it's back in the hands of Laura Clark, who sends it up to Sarah Pirtek and over. Nice pass attempt is recovered by Alessi for Penn State, but is now back in the hands of the Wolverines and Laura Clark, as there is another call. Handed it over to Zarilla. Zarilla's going to get the ball inside, closest the Wolverines have had to a shooting attempt, but it's knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, 7:25 left, so halfway through this first quarter, yet to have a shot on goal for either team.
Veen crosses it across the field. It's going to be passed up to Tamer. Tamer puts some fancy stick work through the legs of her Penn State defender. She's going to take it to the goal herself. Nice save by the Penn State defender. As it appears, we're going to get a penalty corner here.
That's what it looks like. And that'll be the first shot on goal for either team. So we go into this penalty formation.
It's a good save by number 12 for the Nittany Lions, Bri Baracco.
7:07 remaining in the first, and Michigan looking to get their first points of either team so far.
There's a timeout, presumably called by Penn State, as they seem to be the only ones coming in to talk out their strategy for this. If you're new to field hockey and you're not really sure what we're talking about, a penalty corner is when there is a penalty or foul inside of the semicircle, and if it's against the defensive team. When this happens, it means that the offensive team gets basically a free shot. Not really, but the defenders all line up in the goal. Every other person on the defending team has to go to half field along with the offensive team's defenders. The offense lines up around the semicircle. One girl hits it in, and then once that ball comes out of the semicircle, you're free to go, and that's when the defenders everyone from midfield can kind of rush in.
And I find it interesting, they have like an extra set of masks they keep behind the goal that they use only for this. That's how high stakes and potentially dangerous this play is. With a rapidly moving ball headed straight to the goal.
Depending how talented your girl that inserts on the corners are, I mean, if you get that ball outside of the semicircle quick enough, you're launching one as hard as you can, and then they're basically in the position of goalie without the goalie equipment. So the face mask does as much as, takes care of the most important part, on these plays,
Yeah.
but so that must hurt.
And the goalies are padded up. You think they're like going to Yost with the amount of gear they have, amount of pads. They got like shin pads and a ton of gear as well, and a huge face mask. Michigan obviously has the winged helmet face mask. Very consistent across all the teams doing that. Even the baseball team, some of the players have winged batting helmets.
Slow game for Anna Speaker so far. Not a lot going on. Penn State hasn't really been able to put anything together in the offensive zone that gets inside the semicircle, and obviously no shots for Penn State so far. One for the Wolverines, as there's not gonna be a corner.
Yeah. I'm
Well, I
curious.
explained it for you guys, so maybe next time. But now you have the standing explanation. And then next time, when there is a corner, we can use that. And it's going to be Penn State possession here. So that maybe wasn't a timeout so much as it was a review, as Penn State will attempt to get out of their own zone, being defended really heavily by Emmy Tran. Over in the corner, it's going to fall into the hands of Abby Tamer before it's taken away from her. Penn State trying to get out of their own far corner, and it's going to be knocked out of bounds by the Wolverines, so they have to back up, which gives them a chance to finally clear it and get out of danger.
I know Penn State's the higher-ranked team coming into this one, but it's been dominant all Michigan so far.
The Wolverines look good. Unfortunately, though, as a ball gets past, it's going to be Gannon all alone in front of the goalie. What a great save by Speaker. But there's going to be it seemed like there was going to be, it was a great save by Speaker. Now there's going to be a penalty stroke. A Speaker came out of the out from the goal, kind of slide save.
Yeah, that's one of those risky plays. Sometimes you'll get called on the penalty, but if you don't do it, that's probably a surefire goal. It was a one-on-one move. Just Penn State finally got a break, and they made the most of it, and they'll have a chance to potentially take the lead in this 0-0 game so far.
This is going to be Penn State's best offensive chance, since that breakaway was their best offensive chance, as it's going to be Carly Gannon, I believe, with the penalty stroke, giving a chance to put her team up early with about 6:22 remaining here in the first quarter, as there's once again another timeout.
We got two quick timeouts here. 6:22 remaining in the first. Still scoreless, and only one shot between the two teams, and that's from Michigan. This beautiful day in Ann Arbor. The grandstands are filling up too. A couple of high school teams are here. And beyond that, a lot of community members, they come out and support the field hockey team.
Nice little after-school game. Really nice outside. The weather's beautiful, not too hot. Great way to spend your Friday afternoon, or if you're spending it here with us, listening, if you can't make it. They play again at home on Sunday against Cornell.
So coming up after this game, there is a volleyball game directly following this at 7 in Chrysler between Mississippi State and Michigan.
There is not a penalty stroke. I'm so sorry. I'm getting conflicting information. It's going to be Wolverines ball. I guess they decided it was not a penalty on Speaker.
So we had the penalty negated and the corner negated earlier. So these timeouts have really changed the course of the game so far.
Veen's going to send it to the near side to try and get the ball out to Oliveros. It's going to be recovered by McLaughlin. He's going to take it up. Has two Penn State defenders on her, and there's going to be foul called on Penn State. McLaughlin accidentally sends it right into the stick of number 17, Anna Simon, who has it taken away from her by Laura Clark. Who's going to hand it off to Katie Anderson. Katie Anderson's going to pass it back to Oliveros, who's going to launch one up, and it's just not going to be recovered.
I like the thought there. Advance the ball and potentially try and get another shot, but just too fast and too far outside to connect.
Penn State clears it up the near side. Almost knocked out of bounds by the Wolverines, but it's going to stay in possession for Gannon. Gannett hands it off to Simon. Simon's going to pass it all the way up to Gladio. Gladio's working around Veen, but can't manage to break inside that semicircle. Almost sends it through her legs. Picked off. It's going to be recovered by Simon. Simon knocks it right into the hands of the Wolverines, and they're going to clear up the field. Laura Clark picked off, but it's going to be recovered anyway by D'Angelo. Bring it up the near side. Sent over to the hands of Anderson. It's in the semicircle now. It's going to be taken out by Penn State as there's a whistle. Penn State knocks it upfield, but it's recovered by the Wolverines. Outside, Catherine Peterson with it on the left side. Tries to send it across the field, but it's a little more straight than she was hoping for, and it's going to go out of bounds, which will make it Penn State ball.
4:06 remaining. Only one shot on goal between the two teams.
Knocked up the far sideline by Penn State and recovered by the Wolverines. Pass over to Hope. Hope's going to knock it up to Anderson. Anderson passes it. McLaughlin. McLaughlin has it tipped away. It's going to come to the far side. Penn State, or near side, Penn State has it. Trying to break past that first line out of their own zone, but sent right into the hands of Oliveros. The pass attempt by Peterson was broken up by a Penn State player, and it's going to be Penn State ball. Menino. Launched upfield to Jenis. But there's a whistle, so it doesn't matter. As I thought that, as speaker, looked like she was going to get it and then just stopped and it rolled in, but it's because it didn't count. Veen sends it out of bounds on a pass attempt to Oliveros. Menino has it now inside the semicircle. It's going to be in the hands of the Nittany Lions, knocked out. Fighting for it on the near side. They're going to send it back up the field to Love, who sends it all the way back up the field. On the far side, trying to get around Emmy Tran, and they do. Break inside. Stopped by Hope as it gets knocked up in the air. Still Penn State ball. Taking a second to collect themselves. Pass it back, but there's someone coming up, and it's almost going to be picked off. Love has it on the near side. It's knocked out of bounds off Tamer. Love again looking for a way to get inside the semicircle. Menino on the near sideline has it knocked out of bounds again.
Under 2 minutes left in the quarter.
Skied past both Tamer and Love. Newvers has to come in, where it's knocked out of bounds off Tamer again. Penn State getting some sustained time in the offensive zone, but haven't been able to get a good shot off. Comes to Veen in the semicircle, who knocks it out of bounds to Alessi.
Goes out of bounds. I think we might have our first corner of the game.
We
time
will,
for
as
Penn
they get
State.
out their masks. The defenders will stand in the goal as Penn State gets another good offense, probably their best offensive opportunity in this game, as they'll have a good chance to get inside the semicircle.
Yeah, Penn State yet to take a shot with 1:14 remaining in the first quarter. So this potentially could be the first shot. It likely will be the first shot of the game.
Veen, Hope, Taylor, and D'Angelo in goal with Speaker. And Penn State, the initial shot was by Gladio, but it was deflected, and they'll go up 1-0 over the Wolverines off that corner.
Guess it just took one shot, and it wasn't even that hardly hit. More well-placed. It was set down and then sent on in, and the Nittany Lions take a 1-0 lead on their first shot and first corner attempt of the game.
Unfortunate break for the Wolverines, but that initial shot was really good, really hard hit by Gladio, and the rebound managed to deflect it on the near side to get that first goal with just over a minute remaining here. So Wolverines will try and match for their own, but it's knocked away, and Penn State it's coming up the field again. Wallace trips. Menino sends it back towards Love. Peterson tries to balance it on her stick, passes it over to Hope. Hope up to McLaughlin. McLaughlin over to Apula on the far side. That goal was scored. Penn State goal. The deflection was by Megan Reese, her first goal of the season. Peterson has in semicircle. Skies one, but it's deflected by Baracco up high by her head. And the first quarter will come to an end on a possible decent deflection chance. Hope launched one in there, but time ran out before anyone had a chance to try and knock it in. That ends the first quarter with Penn State up 1-0 over the Wolverines. The goal scored by Reese, assist by Gladio, her second. This is Reese's second goal of the season.
And that was just an unlucky break for the Wolverines. They gave up the corner on just tight defense, playing the ball until it literally went out of bounds, which ultimately got the corner called. And then just Penn State made the most of the opportunity, and that's what it takes in games like this. It's so close between the number 6 and number 7 ranked team. It's not surprising to see it come down to the wire like it has so far. But Michigan will be playing from behind coming into the second quarter.
Both teams with one shot on goal, but the difference is that fateful corner by Penn State, that was really well executed and ends up putting them up 1-0.
And Michigan has yet to have a corner of its own. It looked like one was called, but then they reviewed it and ultimately decided it was not a corner, and that potentially was costly as Michigan did not have that opportunity. So only one shot apiece for each team in the whole first quarter. Penn State just made the most of theirs.
Clock ticking down as there is a 2-minute break in between quarters. If you're just joining us, this is the second quarter of Michigan-Penn State. The 7 versus 6 seed here at Oker Field in beautiful Ann Arbor. Great day for some field hockey. Great day to be listening to the field hockey game. And we're going to have some more action coming at you momentarily. We have another broadcast today. I think that's the volleyball game. Am I correct?
Yes, so Michigan's volleyball team is facing off in Chrysler Center versus Mississippi State. We have, I believe, Josh Tinzer and Zach Linder, I think, are on that for WCBN. Won't be over the FM channel, but you can watch or listen rather on our YouTube channel.
The teams are out on the field. Penn State, Alessi skies it. Tried the attempt to knock it out of the air by Oliveros is unsuccessful. She doesn't even manage to touch it. So maintain Wolverine possession as it went out on Penn State. Foul called. Penn State recovered. Oliveros taking it up the near side. Knocked out of her hands, but taken away by Peterson. Peterson puts it through the legs of her defender. She'll be taking it up into the offensive zone. They're going to call that on Penn State. Recovered by Clark.
Dangerous play there in the corner, almost went out of bounds.
The attempt to send it across the field sent it out of bounds. And there's 2 balls on the field right now. So one of them's got to go. And it's going to be the one towards the middle. And Love is going to start this play off, but it's going to be intercepted by Clark. Clark to Alveros. Alveros across the field to Apula. Deflected back to Hope. Hope up the field to Richardson. Richardson and Apula fighting for it. Apula recovers it. Pressure on the backside as they're going to not knock it out of bounds. Are going to knock it out of bounds. It's going to roll all the way up towards and out through the side the goal's on. But it'll be Michigan ball. Bean has it all the way back at half midfield. Inside the circle, went off. Could have been either Apula or the Penn State defender, but it's going to be Penn State's possession, so it went off Apula is what they're going to say. It's skied into the Michigan zone, going to be recovered by Hope. Hope up to Anderson. Back to Hope. Hope's going to send it back to Veen on Michigan's side of midfield. Or to Oliveros, back to Veen. Trying to get something set up here. It's going to be handed up to Anderson. Anderson back over to Hope on the far sideline. Into the hands of Richardson. But it's going to be Penn State ball after a whistle. They're taking it up on the far side. Breakthrough 2 defenders, 3 defenders now. 4 girls on number 23, Gemma Punch, and none could get it from her. Inside the semicircle in the hands of Wallace. Wallace dribbling around, but it's going to be taken away by Hope and out of the semicircle. Hope's attempt at a pass is knocked into the feet of a Penn State defender.
And that's just more great defense from the Wolverines. Just swarming Penn State, making it unable for them to even get a shot off.
Playing real close, and the breakout pass is intercepted by Penn State. Coming over to Love on the near side. To Simon. Simon will dribble through 3 girls. Inside the semicircle, but it's just going to roll through and out of bounds. Penn State ball. Nope, Michigan ball. Oliver Veen. Up to Zarilla. Zarilla over to Apula. Apula taking it up the far side. Ball comes up to Peterson. Peterson's pass attempt to Richardson is going to just have a little too much on it and roll out of bounds. Penn State has it just before midfield. Dangerous pass there, like it wasn't broken up. Cross, Apula tries to defend it, but it just rolls past. They've got Gannon on the inside of the semicircle, but luckily Penn State loses the ball, and therefore nothing can come from that. Apula has it now, and it's knocked out of bounds by Penn State. Got to back up, give her space. As Hope inbounds it. Skies it over the head of Tamer. and it's recovered by Penn State. Penn State has it on their own side of midfield. Gonna knock it back all the way near the semicircle. Tried breakout attempt, nearly picked off by Tamer. Is picked off. There, take the ball upfield. That was a good shot. It's recovered. Still inside the semicircle. That's Clark with it. And that's gonna be Michigan's first corner. That I said was earlier, but wasn't earlier. Now it is.
We thought it was earlier. Ultimately called back, but now this one is unlikely to be called back, bearing something happening now. And Michigan looking to match Penn State after they got a point on their first corner. Michigan looking to even this one up. Is currently 1-0 Penn State ahead with 9:49 left in the second quarter.
Simon, Vos, Reese, and someone else whose number I can't see are in. The goal, as Michigan will insert this, it's going to be covered by a pull-up, handed off to Veen, but
Sanchi kicked it, so it'll be Penn State's ball.
So great, the corner not taken advantage of as Penn State's coming down quick into Michigan's zone. Ball almost inside to Janice. But it's going to be taken away by Hope. Hope over to Richardson. Richardson almost loses it, but manages, at least I thought managed to keep it out of Penn State's hands, but instead they're going to call foul, and it's going to be Penn State's ball. Newvers taking it up. Passed over to Love on the near side. Picked off in the hands of the Wolverines now. Over to Zarilla. Zarilla makes a girl miss, sends it up to Anderson. Anderson up to Apula, but just put too much on it and it'll roll out of bounds just ahead of Apula. A couple of breakouts like those have been squandered here. Just some passes haven't connected. It's skied into the Michigan zone. And out of Wallace's hands, picked off by Veen. Veen hits it off a Penn State player. It'll be Michigan ball. Hope takes it in. Sends it back to Veen. Veen over to Oliveros. Oliveros up, bounces off the stick, but doesn't manage to get tipped away from Clark. Clark's gonna bring it all the way inside the semicircle and a shot, and she scores! What a beautiful shot by Laura Clark across the semicircle to tie this game up 1-1.
That looked so improbable from the shot selection, but sometimes those find their way in, and Michigan has what it needs to tie this game up with 7 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the first half.
I think the ball got lost a little bit amongst the Penn State players. There's quite a few girls inside that semicircle, and the beautiful cross shot. If no one managed to deflect that, it is a absolutely beautiful goal by Laura Clark. And we're tied 1-1 here halfway. It is going to go to Laura Clark. What a beauty. Phenomenal play. Way to take advantage of it all by herself. Drive up the field and capitalize on it. Huge goal. Penn State has it now. It's going to be tipped out of their hands by McLaughlin. Roll to no man's land, but recovered by Penn State. They're going to move the ball over. Punch is going to be starting, passing it up to Love. As the pass attempt is sent almost directly into the hands of Hope. And they're going to call that on Penn State, so it'll still maintain Michigan's possession. Oliveros on the near side. We'll start play again, pass it back to Veen, who's right in front of the goal. Has 2 girls converging on her almost immediately. Oliveros trapped in the corner, back to Veen. Back to Oliveros, they need to get this ball out. Knocked out of bounds by Penn State, gives them a chance to reset. the attempt to knock it up the out-of-bounds line is no good. It will be Penn State's. Back into the hands of Oliveros, who they're going to say hit her foot as Gannon takes it up. Menino right outside the semicircle on the near side, looking for her options, and gets it through the legs of two Michigan defenders right in front of the net for number 13. Great save by Anna Speaker. Jenness was right in front of the goal, and Speaker completely snuffed any chance of that going in. Great save. She was ready for that one as the ball rolls all the way across the field to the near side. And Anouk Veen's going to dash over to take this for the Wolverines. Ooh, and that hits up high on Janice. Looks like it could have hit a hand. Menino has it. She'll start on the near corner. Love knocks it through, hits Hope's. Oh. Could have been a great opportunity, but I think it hit the foot of Gannon, and therefore an attempt right in front of the goalie in the semicircle is squandered. Penn State still has the ball, though. Looking for something, hits it right into the stick of Anderson. Penalty on Penn State as the attempt to get up to Tamer is intercepted by Love. Back to Janice. Peterson recovers it, takes it across the field, and pass attempt deflected, I think, off of a Penn State player's foot. So they'll have to back up as they take a breather, start again. Veen has it right in front of the first line in Michigan's own zone. Over to Oliveros. Oliveros back to Veen. Veen looking for somewhere to launch it, but she'll hit it just right up to midfield to Hope. We'll hit it back to Oliveros. Oliveros' attempt to clear the ball is picked off by Janice, but Janice loses it, and it's going to go into the hand to Anderson. Anderson taking it up the near side. Pass in to Tamer. Tamer's working through 2-3 girls. Almost handed over to Apula inside the semicircle. That attempt was stuffed by a Penn State player, and that's going to be another corner. This is going to be corner 2.
Michigan hoping to take the lead here on the second corner. Their first corner attempt just completely squandered by a penalty there. And this game has been really cutthroat and neck so far. No team really able to pull ahead at all. Only 2 shots on goal for Penn State, only 3 for the Wolverines.
Wolverines getting set up outside the semicircle. McLaughlin inserting. Hoping to make this corner come to fruition, unlike the first one, as it takes Penn State a second to get their helmets, their masks adjusted. McLaughlin inside. Hands it off to Anderson. Back to McLaughlin, and the wraparound attempt hits the side of the goal and bounces out. And it'll be sent up by Penn State.
Another missed opportunity by the Wolverines there.
Deliberation real quick. As Gladio looks like she's going to start with it.
3 minutes, 22 seconds left in the first half. 1 apiece for Michigan and Penn State.
So there's gonna be a break here. Not sure if it's just a regular timeout or if something's being looked at, but they are playing Taylor Swift, so I appreciate that.
We got a long line at the concession stand.
I don't blame them. I'm also getting hungry.
It's an interesting time for the game, a 5 p.m. start. I guess the hope was to get it done with by sunset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready for the sun to start setting so early. Yesterday it set at like 7:45, 7:50. I still want it to be like light at like 9 p.m.
I don't know. I like 7:30. 7:30 is good sunset time for me personally. Hope you can hear the Taylor Swift in the background.
Not too loudly, or else we'll get flagged for copyright on YouTube. But
Not too loud. That's
yeah.
not Taylor Swift. It's someone else
Someone else, yes.
whose name rhymes with Taylor Swift.
So with that, it looks like the stoppage in play is going to come to an end. Michigan's goalie coming back to the net.
Refs talking to the Penn State coaches, so
I find it interesting. Michigan, during all the timeouts and stoppage in play, they've stayed on the field. Penn State, on the other hand, they've come on off. I don't know if that's just a change in strategy or team culture or whatever it may be. But
everyone will return to their positions, and it's going to be Penn State ball right outside of their own semicircle. Love will be starting this offensive possession off. Love skies it, won't make it to midfield though, but it will make it to Apula, who's going to have to work around a Penn State defender and send it back to Hope. Passes it back to Veen, just over midfield. Veen hands it off, but it's picked off by Penn State. Knocked out of bounds though. Still Penn State possession. Knock it over midfield. Menino gets it into Michigan's side, but it'll be taken away by Clark, who's Michigan's goal scorer. Clark sends it up into the semicircle. Tamer had a great chance wide open in the semicircle, but the angle was awkward and she just couldn't manage to get a good shot off, as it'll be not hit out of bounds.
that was just beautiful ball
Audible
movement.
awe
Yeah.
here in this here
Up in the
in
press
Oker
box
Field.
even.
Up in the press box definitely, but probably out there amongst the fans too, as that had a chance to really be something special if she'd only just been able to get her stick around on it. The Wolverines will take it just to midfield line. Hit it probably back to Veen, but there's not much on it. She has to come up to make sure that Penn State doesn't get it. Over to Oliveros. Sends it up to Anderson, who doesn't manage to keep it in bounds. Would have been really, really impressive if she did. Alessi working through two Michigan players to pass it off to Simon. Simon up the line to Janice. Janice has it. Janice manages to keep it in bounds, but will be taken away by Michigan. Clark has it on the near sideline, takes it up past half. It's hit off a Penn State player. Wolverine possession just over midfield.
Over a minute left in the half. Michigan's going to need to make something happen if they want to break the stalemate going into the locker rooms.
Apula sends it up to the very far corner. Pass intended for Apula is broken up. Trying to get something going here in the last minute for Penn State. Whistle called, some outrage from Wolverines, but there's no time for that. Just a minute left here in the first half. Sent in to Wallace. Wallace keeps it in bounds. Wallace is inside the semicircle working Oliveros. Gets it inside to Gladio. Gladio has it shot and scores as a backhand shot by Gladio. Will put the Penn State Nittany Lions up 2-1 with just 0.3 over 30 seconds remaining in this first half. And that kind of deflates the Wolverines like a balloon. Just don't want to let those last minute points in.
Yeah, I was saying Michigan needed to make something happen. Apparently the Nittany Lions heard me instead. And that was just great awareness from pretty much the whole offense on Penn State. They followed their shot even when it was deflected at first. They didn't give up on the possession. They ultimately sent it back and put it in the backside of the net with 30 seconds remaining.
It was a really good shot by Gladio, backhanded. Kind of just, I don't know, thwacked at it as it manages to sneak past Speaker.
So we have 30 seconds left until halftime. Find it very unlikely Michigan gets any points and ties it on up in those 30 seconds, but stranger things have happened. I'm curious, so far the goal hasn't been added to the scoreboard. Wondering if they're looking at it for something.
There could have potentially been some sort of penalty in there. Could just be it hurts to add it, so they're taking their sweet time.
I don't know, I guess we'll see.
But assuming it stands, which I'd see no reason why it wouldn't, though there is deliberation between the two coaches. Coach for both Penn State and Michigan, we're talking to the refs there.
They're going to call it a goal, so I don't know what the issue was, but whatever it was, it didn't matter.
May have been looking for a penalty inside the circle there on Penn State, wondering if it went off someone's foot or something, but it's as good of a goal as they come, and that'll put Penn State up here late in the first half. The Wolverines have 30 seconds to tie it up before going into halftime.
And we'll see what happens. Like 4 balls on the pitch. One of the oddities.
Play with all of them. Come on.
Yeah,
the last 30 seconds, just do something fun.
In field hockey, they have like a dozen balls on each side, so if it goes out of bounds, you can quickly grab one.
Tamer loses it to Penn State. There's scramble for it, back in the hands of Gladio, who just scored that goal. Over to Wallace, but it's going to be picked off by Anderson. Clark sends a pass to Anderson, but it's intercepted. There's not going to be another play probably, as Love will hit the ball with 0 seconds remaining, and that'll close out the first half here at Oker Field. Penn State 2, Michigan 1. Michigan's lone goal scored by Laura Clark, with goals from Reese and there's 2 Reeses. I didn't realize that. I'm so sorry. Reese and Gladio for the Nittany Lions.
That's got to be really deflating for the Wolverines. Planning on going into halftime. Well, first giving up that goal on the corner was tough, but Michigan fought back, earned a point, evened it up, and it was looking like they would go into half with it tied and then focus on the second half with essentially like a 0-0 ball game. But then 30 seconds left, just focused too much on halftime. They overlooked the final 30 seconds, and that's what Penn State took advantage of. Props to them to find the opening and get it in the net.
They'll have to play from behind in that second half. And I want to clarify, as I did not realize that there were 2 Reeses on this team, that goal was scored by number 11, Megan Reese, not number 10, Madison Reese. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. My name is Neal Sinha, for those who don't know. I'll be doing play-by-play for the second half.
I'm going to disappear, so if you hate me, now is your time. Neal, what do you think Michigan has to do in the second half to win this game?
I think they need more shots, first of all. I mean, it's funny to say, but Michigan has 4 shots. Penn State only has 2. Funny enough, Penn State has scored on both of those shots. I think Michigan hasn't really created that many high percentage chances in the first half. They had one little ricochet shot that Abby Tamer had a little comebacker. That it was a tough angle, and she wasn't able to make it happen. And so I think in the final third, the Wolverines just aren't holding onto the ball right now, and that's the key to scoring goals, which, you know, they're down 2-1. They're going to need them in the second half.
Of those 4 shots that, besides the goal, there was maybe one that was genuinely a decent chance of going in, and that was the shot up high that Barrasso had no trouble fielding. Sorry, I love when they make the children do like little games. They're just so fun.
I think they added that this year because in the few games that I was here for last year, I don't think they had this.
Oh no, she didn't know that you had to only score one goal. Come on, run. Sorry. I get so into these. When I did game in Louisville, and there was a baby race, and I thought about that for like weeks. It was so funny. Just put the baby on the court and let it crawl its way to victory. It's such a funny concept. Okay, I'm gonna be a professional journalist now, and I'm gonna stop commentating on. Oh, swing and a miss. I lied. I'm not gonna stop commentating on this.
Oh, go in the goal.
Managed to hit both of them. Go, run. You can't look back. That's why you lose, because you looked back. That's so sad. This is what WCBN brings you that other broadcasts just don't, is the commentary of the entertainment during the breaks.
On 88.3 FM radio. It doesn't get any better than this right now here at Ocker Field in Ann Arbor. Kendall, what do you think, though? You're going to be leaving the broadcast, but you will still be watching, though. What do you think Michigan has to do? Or I guess, you know what? You already asked me that question. I'll ask you this. What did Penn State do to take the lead there in that first half? Why are they up right now?
Well, obviously that corner was really well executed. The shot and the deflection could not have been more perfect. The initial shot by Gladio and then the deflection by Reese. And then on that second goal, they just had a breakaway, and they looked like they were still playing, whereas Michigan kind of seemed tired. Michigan seemed really content to just go into the second half tied, whereas Penn State still had that drive, and they got past the Michigan defenders. I would say they're giving Penn State a little too much leeway down in the far corner. They're letting them get into the semicircle a bit too often compared to Penn State, who is really keeping Michigan out of there. They've only been in maybe a few times, and even when they've been in there, they haven't really had any decent shot opportunities compared to Penn State getting in and getting close on Abby Speaker, who's made some decent saves but has not, if you keep letting the opponent get right up in her face, it's, there's going to score more often than not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. And by the way, I take back what I said earlier. Penn State does have 3 shots, 2 goals. You just reminded me the scoreboard's not showing the third shot, but they did have that one shot that Anna Speaker had an absolutely amazing save on, diving to her right, going full extension, laying across the goal. And she's been such a mainstay for this program the past few years. Speaker is a person who was the starter at goalkeeper last year. She had a great year for this Michigan team that went relatively far in the NCAA tournament. And, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think that Michigan, especially at the end there of that first half, kind of got a little complacent. They thought that they were just going to wind the clock out when you can't do that. You got to stay on the aggressive end, and we'll see if they can turn it around here in the second half. It'll be very interesting to watch.
Especially in that offensive zone, they're just once Michigan gets over half, they don't really. It doesn't seem like they have anything set or anything that they want to get started. Most of them have just been passes up, hoping Tamer will be able to get in the zone and score, as she is the team's leading goal scorer this season. But it's not going to work when you have a team like Penn State who has demonstrated the ability to, prevent that from happening and to keep them out of the zone.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's kind of been in that final third for Michigan that they haven't been able to control it. There's been times too, defensively speaking, where Penn State with Gemma Punch, has been absolutely streaking through the center of the field, and the Wolverines haven't been able to pick her up. And yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that Marsha Pankratz has to talk about at halftime right now. This is a Michigan team that expects to win every single game that they're in, and so they are certainly not happy with that first half performance.
Very winnable game. They were in it for most of it, just a couple really unfortunate opportunities on that last shot to take the lead, 2-1 going into half for Penn State, and that corner, which was just really well executed by Penn State. If you're just joining us, you're listening to this game on WCBN FM Ann Arbor, and this has been it for Kendall Spencer, and I'm going to hand my microphone over to Adam Bressler.
Yeah, a great first half from Kendall. A great game going on here at Ocker Field in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Wolverines, number 7 in the country. Michigan field hockey is currently down 2-1 to the number 6 overall team in the country, the Penn State Nittany Lions. My name is Neal Sinha, and joining me for the second half is Adam Bressler. Adam, you called that first half. What does Michigan need to do to turn things around? And, have you seen any holes that maybe Marcia Pankratz specifically will be pointing out?
I don't know. This game's really complex because Michigan is doing a good job of keeping the pressure. Best defense is offense, moving the ball across the field and up the field. Just the 2 opportunities that Penn State has broken through and gotten a shot off, it's gone in. I don't know if that's just bad luck or if that is a hole in their defense, but whatever it is, it allowed Penn State to take a 2-1 lead heading into the second half, and that is not how they're going to win this game if just hoping that their luck turns around. They had a really great opportunity with about 3 minutes left, open shot, just as Kendall mentioned on the call, just a tough angle to make it happen. And I just don't foresee Michigan being able to get a ton of offense this game. So far, they've only had 4 shots and only 2 corners. I don't anticipate them cracking this open. So they're going to need to make the most of the opportunities that they do get. And whether it's a corner or just a fast break, find the back of that net and tie it up and take the lead.
Yeah, and, for those who maybe don't know too much about Michigan field hockey, they are certainly this season missing a player from Buenos Aires who they had last year, Adam. Sophia Southam, she was a fantastic player for this Wolverines team last year. She was easily the leading goal scorer for the Wolverines in 2021, had 23 goals. The next closest player was at 5. Michigan has been lacking that goal scoring so far this year. In a game against North Carolina, the number 2 team in the country, the Wolverines only scored 1, where the Tar Heels scored 5. And so it's been an issue point for this Michigan team. The other game that they lost to number 5 Louisville was 1-2. They need to start scoring goals, and it all starts with that possession in the final third of the field.
Exactly. And with that, the teams are returning to the pitch. And we're going to have another 30 minutes of field hockey coverage coming your way here on WCBN FM Ann Arbor. 88.3 for today's broadcast, simulcast over the FM airwaves all throughout Washtenaw County.
Yeah, and we want to thank everybody for listening in, as well as on YouTube, which we are always on. And we are getting ready for the face-off here in the second half. Once again, the Penn State Nittany Lions are up 2-1 on the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan had 4 shots in that first half. Penn State had 3. So getting it started here for the Wolverines will be number 27, Catherine Peterson, throwing it forward. Abby Tamer steals it immediately from Penn State and rushes forward. Michigan with a little bit of urgency here. And here comes the Wolverines with Laura Clark, the goal scorer in the first half. Penn State gets a steal on the far side. Here come the Nittany Lions. And out of bounds, but Penn State will hold on to possession. A little bit of urgency right out of the gates, Adam.
Yeah, I wondered if maybe the end of the first half played to that or if it's just Michigan's strategy all the time.
And here comes Rosie Hope on the right end of the field for Michigan. Throws it forward to Nina Pula. To Catherine Peterson, who then loses it, but we have a call on the field. It'll be Michigan ball. Number 3, Bryn Zorla will be taking the shot. It goes forward into the semicircle. Abby Tamer has a shot at the goal. And oh my goodness, how did that not go in the goal? Oh my goodness, Abby Tamer rushed it forward. It was tipped by the goalie up into the upper left corner. And Wolverine number 7, Alana Richardson, tried to get her stick up in there and stick it in, but somehow it did not go. Now Nina Pula, midfield, goes back to Zorla. Zarilla switches it out left. Laura Clark trying to make something happen for the Wolverines here in the final third. The call on the field will be Michigan ball. Laura Clark continues with it and then goes straight into a Penn State defender, number 20, Anouk Newers, and the Wolverines get a call immediately. They will have a penalty corner. And wow, just within a minute and a half of this third quarter, the Wolverines are immediately on the offensive, had a great opportunity that somehow didn't go in, and now they get a penalty corner.
So these are the type of opportunities Michigan needs to take advantage of. Have the penalty corner, chance to find like an open shot at the net essentially. If Michigan could score here, tie it up, it's a whole new ball game.
And Laura Clark will send it in for the Wolverines. She goes to Zarilla. Quick pass, extra shot. Wolverines, no. Penn State ball. Out of the penalty corner, they will throw off their penalty corner helmets and get it started again. Elena Voss for the Nittany Lions in the back line. Kicks it out left to a number 11, Megan Reese. Scored a goal in the first half. Down low to Gemma Punch, who's racing it forward. She has great speed down the left end. A couple of Wolverines going at her right now, including Nina Apula. Now here comes Penn State, number 2. Alice with the pass into the semicircle. Nothing doing there. We get a call on the field, but it'll be back to Alice at the top. Penn State now on the right end. Looking to make a play, throws it in. And the referee will make a call. It'll be Wolverines ball. Near their own end. It'll be Anouk Veen to get it started for Michigan. She goes right to Rosie Hope. Hope throws it forward. Nina Apula now on the right sideline. Hits it out, and yes, it will be Penn State ball. Megan Reese will take it off the left end. Reese throws it forward. Down goes Gemma Punch. No call. It'll be Michigan ball starting with Rosie Hope.
Michigan needs to clear it. This is going to get dangerous if they stay right by their net for much longer.
Hope back to Veen, and oh my goodness, that is an absolute nightmare. It goes right off their own end line, so Penn State will have it. And Alice flips it across the field to Anna Simon on the right end for Penn State, trying to do something. She loses the ball, but we get a call. And here come the Nittany Lions, who then lose it out of bounds. Michigan will have it back.
Penn State just rushing too much on that opportunity, try to catch Michigan sleeping.
And excuse me, actually, it'll be Penn State ball. Must have been off a Wolverine. But Michigan, man, we're seeing a lot of change of possession right now. Here come the Nittany Lions with Elena Voss, sends it into the semicircle. Wolverines get it, and here comes Laura Clark, sends it forward. Abby Tammer now across midfield. A little push of the ball, and now here she is on the attacking end. Abby Tammer bringing it up the right end, trying to get a shot for the Wolverines. She sends it in, and number 7 for Michigan, Alana Richardson, can't make it happen. Goes out of bounds. It'll be Penn State ball on the right sideline.
Another missed opportunity there for the Wolverines. They were literally within touching distance of the net. Just couldn't find a way to make the ball fit in it.
Here comes Penn State up the right sideline. We get a ball thrown forward. Anouk Veen's covering it, though. Anouk Veen with a great bit of stick work there, but then hits it out of bounds. Anna Simon now will bring it up for Penn State, but she hits it out of bounds, and Michigan will start it off their own end. It'll be Pilar Oliveros, the 5th-year senior from Uruguay. Throws it forward, and Elena Voss gets it right back. Extra pass, Penn State stolen by Michigan. Here comes Abby Tammer once again. Great turn on the ball. Abby Tammer dribbling it in. Still not in the semicircle, and now she is. Up the left end, trying to find a pass. But goes straight into the goalkeeper, Bree Barco, for Penn State.
in an act of desperation, try to send it out to some Wolverine. Unable to connect it.
Penn State with the ball now on the right end. Bringing it up. Great bit of stick work right now by the Nittany Lions to bring it up, but then they lose it. That was number 19, Grace Wallace. And here come the Wolverines again up the far side. Be number 14, Katie Anderson, hits it over to Nina Pula, who then throws it up to Laura Clark. The Nittany Lions able to steal it back, goes out of bounds. And Gladio, who had the second goal for Penn State, will hit it off the left sideline. She throws it forward up, and Anouk Veen once again holds her ground, goes to Rosie Hope. Here comes Nina Pula again. Michigan with a little bit of speed here. Pula with a great spin move on Gladio. Here comes Pula. Down by the right end, and they're saying it's off Penn State. The Nittany Lions are not agreeing with that call, but nonetheless, it'll be Michigan ball for a penalty corner, I believe the referee's saying.
Yeah, so this will be Michigan's fourth corner of the game. Yet to score on any of them, and honestly yet to get a shot off on, at least a decent shot off any of them. Penn State only has 2 shots, and both of them found the back of the net. It's not sustainable, but at the end of the game, it doesn't care about sustainability. It's just who's on top.
Yeah, Kendall and I were talking about it at halftime, but I think they didn't mark the third shot that Penn State had where Anna Speaker had a great save, because that was definitely in play. So the Nittany Lions with 3 shots but 2 goals. That is great conversion percentage right there for the Nittany Lions, and Laura Clark will get it started from the penalty corner. She throws it into Abby Tammer. Tammer looking for the shot. She'll take it on her own. Great save from Bree Baracco, who's just sitting on the ball and then hits it out. And it'll be Penn State, or it'll be Michigan ball out of the penalty corner, though. Penn State throws off those helmets, and here comes Abby Tammer, a shot from outside the semicircle. And Bree Baracco lets it go in the goal, but of course in field hockey that doesn't count. Nuke Newers with a pass for Penn State. Michigan gets a steal right back, though. Here comes Anderson, number 14 for Michigan. Up to 27 for the Wolverines, who then falls right in the semicircle, Catherine Peterson. Wolverines now battling for it with Laura Clark on the left sideline. And here comes Michigan, throws it forward. Nina Pula fighting for it in the semicircle. The Nittany Lions able to clear it momentarily to Pilar Oliveros, and Michigan's going to send it back and try to reset here. Anouk Veen with the pass to the right end for Michigan, and we get a deflection out of bounds. It'll be Wolverines ball. Number 20, Claire Taylor, getting into the game here. She'll dribble it off the sideline, find Katie Anderson, forward to Abby Tammer. Near the right corner, she'll bring it up into the box. Tammer with the shot. Saved, back out to Apula, deflected once again, and I think we have another penalty corner, Adam.
This will be the 5th one of the game for the Wolverines. See if maybe 5th time's a charm. I know the saying's 3rd time's a charm, but didn't quite work for the Wolverines earlier. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. This is being simulcast on 88.3 FM Ann Arbor, our larger organization, and as always on our YouTube channel. This is our only field hockey game that's scheduled to be on the FM airwaves this season. Potentially, if there's a playoff game, we might try and get that one on the air. The team is 7th ranked in the nation, so playoffs are in the cards potentially, but a lot of it does depend on this game, on how highly they'll be ranked. But beyond that, we have a handful of other FM broadcasts coming up. Next week, we have one with, let me pull up our schedule. We got a soccer game coming up, a women's soccer game against Ohio State. arch rival right there. And that'll be on the 22nd, Thursday at 7 p.m. And then we have a volleyball game live from Chrysler on September 28th, also on the FM band. So if you enjoy listening to Michigan athletics broadcasted by students over the FM airwaves, we have a couple of games coming up for you to satiate that desire.
Most definitely, and of course, like you said, field hockey, we will continue to broadcast on YouTube. Michigan, this is only the start of really the beef of their schedule. The Big Ten, for those who don't know, in field hockey, absolutely runs the country, it seems like, year in and year out.
Yeah.
This is a Big Ten conference with 5 teams currently in the top 10. Northwestern at number 1, Maryland at 3, Iowa at 5, Penn State at 6, and the Wolverines of Michigan at number 7.
It's crazy to think that Michigan's the 5th best team in the Big Ten and they're 7th ranked nationally. Just how dominant the Big Ten is and has been. Michigan has an out-of-conference game on Sunday we'll be broadcasting against Cornell of the Ivy League. So even though this is a Big Ten game, they have a couple other non-cons still scheduled in there.
Yep, and it looks like after review here, it'll be Penn State ball. The Wolverines do not hold on to the penalty corner. And so Anouk Newers will set it back into play here for Penn State, and she does. She goes out left, and Nino Poole immediately starts making a play on the ball, but loses it back to a penalty, and here comes Penn State. And Michigan suddenly gets a steal right back, and here they come on the right sideline. Number 20, Claire Taylor, makes the pass forward up to number 16 for the Wolverines in the sideline. Gets a shot right at Anouk Newers, right to the hand. The referee says play on, and they do. Penn State eventually gets a steal here with Gladio. She flips it out left to Megan Reese, who then throws it up to Nino Pula, who gets the steal. And here comes number 13, Penn State. Steals it right back, Ella Jenis. And we get a call on the field. Nino Pula will rush forward with it. Finds Abby Tammer out on the right. Tries to nutmeg her defender. And we get a contact call. Abby Tammer then flips it up over her defender. What a play, my goodness. But then we get a call back for Penn State. A lot of quick moving stuff going on here in the second half. Emily Farrell gets a start for Penn State and then hits it out of bounds. So here comes Claire Taylor on the right sideline.
If you're Penn State right now, you're just trying to hold on to the lead and sit on it. Fortunately for them, Michigan's offense has struggled to finish.
Wolverines now in the semicircle. Abby Tammer gets a pass right into the middle, gets a shot on goal. It's deflected out of bounds from the Penn State goalkeeper, Bree Baracco. It'll be a penalty corner.
So this will be the 5th one of the game. Michigan still trying to find their way to the net from a penalty or from a corner. 4 minutes, 57 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Neither team has scored yet this half. Michigan trying to break that right here with the corner.
Though it seemed like Michigan has dominated this half. You know,
That's how it felt like all game. Michigan's really dominated offense, just unable to finish.
And here's the pass from the penalty corner. Nino Pula sets it up for the Wolverines. A shot, no good. Saved by Baracco. Michigan still in the semicircle. Shot right at their own player, number 28 for Michigan. And it'll be Penn State. Oh, no, it'll be another penalty corner.
There we go. So Michigan with another opportunity as Penn State, they just took their masks off. They're going to have to put it back on. This will be the 6th of the game. Michigan yet to score. They have 10 shots on goal compared
and
to
6
2
being
from
in
Penn State.
this half alone.
Yeah.
Wolverines send it in a pool once again to Anouk Veen. The shot no good, saved by Baracco. Penn State will have to defend another penalty corner. My goodness.
So this is going to be Michigan's chance at redemption as we have 4 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. And Michigan's 3rd consecutive corner
Katie McLaughlin will send it in once again. Her arms have to be getting tired. Apula, Anouk Veen, the same setup, no good. We got a little bit of stick play all around in the semicircle. Apula racing out of the semicircle to get the ball for the Wolverines. And then Apula has it deflected out of bounds by number 11 for Penn State. Apula then sends it in. Rosie Hope in the midfield. Back to Apula, right end. Apula looking. Finds Claire Taylor. Switches it back to her center back in Anouk Veen. Anouk Veen sends it forward into the semicircle. A ricochet forward. Michigan tries a shot. No good. That was number 28, Sarah Pertek, trying to get a shot off. But Penn State holds the defense and holds on to this 2-1 lead with 3:50 to go here in this third quarter. And Kelsey Love sends it forward on the right end for Penn State. Here come the Nittany Lions. Sophia Gladio at the midfield, trying to race it forward and find somebody. She throws it forward. It gets deflected out of bounds off Katie Anderson. Gladio will hit it back in.
I'm questioning Michigan's strategy on the corners. Every time, all 7 of them, they just sent it on the ground straight up the middle, hoping to find a gap. I'm wondering if after 7 and no cigar, if you maybe should try mixing it up a little bit, passing it outside and get a side pass. I just don't know if, what's the Einstein quote, trying everything again is insanity without changing anything. But.
And here comes Tina D'Angelo for Michigan. Throws it forward, saved by Bree Baracco. And out of bounds. It'll be Michigan ball. No penalty corner this time. Apula. Rosie Hope sends it forward into the semicircle. Catherine Peterson trying to make a play. Still with it now on the left end of the semicircle. A shot into the center. Bree Baracco with the save. Referee says it'll be Michigan, or excuse me, it'll be Penn State ball with Claire Taylor. So Adam, you don't think the 8th time is the charm?
I don't, unless they mix it up. Just trying to send it on the ground and pray for a gap. It hasn't been working, and it won't work. It might happen once, and I know it might technically be the best strategy, but part of strategy is mixing it up and anticipating your opponent's defense, and they just haven't been doing that.
Penn State now on Michigan's 3rd. Michigan gets a steal to Anouk Veen. She sends it forward to number 7, Alana Richardson, still with the ball now, racing forward. She doesn't really have any teammates up. Draws a call. Michigan will continue with it. Katie Anderson now, number 14, holding down the midfield to Rosie Hope. Hope looking out right. Makes that pass to Claire Taylor now, who's going to try to bring it into the semicircle. She does, but instead she loses it out of bounds. You can't have mistakes like that for the Wolverines when they're down 2-1. Emily Farrell now for Penn State. Throws it forward. And Penn State immediately loses it back. Anna Simon lost it out of bounds. And Nina Pula once again will try to bring it up into the circle and find a teammate. She doesn't this time, though. Emily Farrell with the steal. Nittany Lions trying to get out of their own half. They race it forward. Sophia Gladio now at midfield for Penn State. Hits it to the right end. It gets stolen by Katie Anderson. A great read. Looking like a linebacker out there, reading the QB's eyes. Here comes Penn State. They get a steal back on their own end.
42 seconds left in the quarter. Yet to have a goal for either team. Penn State hasn't even gotten a shot off this quarter.
Apula now. Into Pertek. Apula. Gets it stolen, but it's still Michigan ball after the call by the referee. The clock continues to tick, and Michigan doesn't have a ball. Now they do. Apula sends it in. Rosie Hope tries to get a deep shot into the semicircle. Hit out of bounds by Penn State. It'll be Michigan ball. 10 seconds and counting now. And Penn State will just run it out here, and that will do it for this third quarter. There we go. It's still 2-1. The Penn State Nittany Lions lead your Michigan Wolverines 2-1 at the end of 3. We have one final fourth quarter to go to decide this matchup between number 7 Michigan and number 6 Penn State.
This was not the quarter you wanted from the Wolverines. I know they dominated the flow and possession and momentum, but that's not enough. What counts at the end of the game is the number on the scoreboard, and that number is higher for Penn State right now. I don't know how to break out of this rut. Michigan had 17 shots on goal this game in 7 corners. Compare that to Penn State's 3 shots in 1 corner. It just isn't sustainable.
Yeah, and you got to think that, Penn State head coach Charlene Moret Curtis has to be telling her team that you can't, exactly like you said, you can't just be playing defense the whole quarter and give up, however many shots that they did in that third quarter of, I believe that was 13, and expect to get out of Ann Arbor here with a win. It's just extremely unlikely, and so Penn State's going to have to play a little bit better possession game to hold on to the ball and, try to march down the field, though. If you're Michigan, Adam, what do you do to, first of all, tie this game up and then try to go for the win?
If it were an easy thing, they would be doing it by now. It's real tough to change your plan and change your game plan because everything they're doing seems to be working until it doesn't at the last moment. It just can't find its way into the net. I mentioned this earlier. On the corners, I think it might be time to mix things up. I know you maybe have practiced just sending it up the middle all game, all season, and hoping that'll go in. But Penn State's goalie is on it really good and just can't let anything through. I wonder if maybe aiming higher and trying to get it in the goal in the air, or maybe passing outside and doing kind of a delayed pass so it's not like the head-on shot like they've been trying all game. But beyond that, they got great ball movement. They have 17 shots, just finishing. It's nothing different than that. Just trying to find a way to tie this up and then potentially take the lead in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, and the penalty corners as we get the face-off here going into the fourth quarter, where Michigan is really lacking Sophia Gladio. She was fantastic at scoring those last year. Here we go in the fourth quarter. Nino Pula finds outright to Rosie Hope. Hope tries to send it into the center. Nothing doing, though, for the Wolverines. Penn State gets it right back. Tammer gets called for kicking right there. And Emily Farrell gets it set up for Penn State. Nittany Lions with a little bit of dribbling doing here on Nino Pula. Penn State holds possession. Farrell with the referee looking on. Looking for a teammate. Throws it forward. Gets stolen by Rosie Hope, who then nutmegs her defender, but has it hit out of bounds. It's deflected, though, so it'll be Michigan ball. Rosie Hope now. Goes back to Anouk Veen. At midfield, Anouk Veen. The steady presence from the back. Throws it forward to Katie Anderson. Anderson loses it, and here comes Gladio, the speedster for Penn State, then to Grace Wallace on the right edge. Here comes Wallace down the right sideline, runs it forward, has a hit out of bounds. It'll be still Penn State ball with Ella Jennis. Jennis races forward, throws it up, and Michigan will have it on their own defensive end. Oliveros sends it back to Anouk Veen. Veen back to Oliveros. Forward, gets stolen by Penn State, excuse me. Kelsey Love now, the back end for Penn State. Throws it forward. We have a high stick penalty on Penn State. It'll be Michigan ball with Anouk Veen. Veen hits it forward to kind of the center mid for Michigan. Catherine Peterson with a great pass to Nina Apula. Apula now brings it forward. Not really many players around there for the Wolverines, and Penn State gets it right back. Gemma Punch up the left sideline with 3 Wolverines surrounding her, Apula included. Gets called for contact. Punch still with it now for Penn State. Hits it forward, a great pass to Alice, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Here comes Alice. Great defense by Michigan's Anna Speaker, the goalie. And Michigan gets it right back. Looked like LC had a one-on-one there, but decided not to take the shot. Now, Penn State's Emily Farrell struggling with it with Abby Tamer. Tamer has the ball right back. Floats it in the air, trying to find 28, Sarah Pertek for Michigan. She can't get there in time. Kelsey Love for Penn State finds Emily Farrell. Stolen by Nina Pula. Catherine Peterson trying to bring it into the semicircle. She will. Open shot. No good.
That
Off
was
to
the
the left.
opportunity. One-on-one with the goalie. Tried going too wide, and it missed the whole net completely.
And that will make 18 shots and just 1 goal for the Michigan Wolverines. Gladio now at midfield. Number 3 for Penn State. Gladio has the ball stolen by, I believe that's Laura Clark, bringing it up the left. Clark draws a call, continues with it, then finds her teammate Catherine Peterson in the box, can't do anything with it. And then she draws a penalty corner. Bree Baracco, the goalie for Penn State, the senior from Allentown, Pennsylvania, not happy with the call. She's talking to the referee right now. But as it stands, it will be the 9th penalty corner for the Wolverines.
We'll see what happens here. As I said this at the intermission, I said it earlier, I think it would be very wise to change the strategy.
Do you think that's something that Marcia Pankratz talked to the team about at the 2-minute quarter break that they had?
I would imagine. You got to make some change. No reasonable person could look at this and say, just keep doing what you've been doing and hope it works this time.
Well, we'll see. It'll be Laura Clark sending it in. She goes to Apula. Extra pass, a little bit of decoy action here. Katie Anderson from the top of the circle, no.
See, I like that, though. They tried mixing it up, and it still missed, but it was at least a different thing, and it'll keep Penn State on their toes for the future, too.
Most definitely. Looked like a fake shot by the Wolverines and a decoy. Nothing doing, though, still for the Wolverines. 10:30 to go in this game between number 7 and number 6. Laura Clark tries bringing it up the left sideline. Has it stolen by Kelsey Love, who paces it forward and then tried finding her teammate up the center forward, but it gets stolen by Anouk Veen. Veen forward to Laura Clark, and she gets something going. The lone goal scorer for Michigan today. Great pass to Abby Tamer up the left sideline. Here comes Tamer. Can she find a teammate? Tamer tries shooting it on her own. That'll be shot number 20 of this game. Out of bounds, Michigan ball on the right sideline.
Under 10 minutes left. Michigan still trailing by 1.
Rosie Hope now. Dribbling it forward. As it deflected out of bounds, it'll be Michigan ball.
Michigan's been playing from behind since 30 seconds left in the first half.
Hope back to a new Veen. Veen, Zarilla. Zarilla out left to Oliveros. Can Pilar make a play? She throws it forward in the box. A little deflection by Abby Tamer. Saved by Bree Baracco. I don't know if that will count as a shot. I don't think it will.
Still 20 shots this game, only 1 to be shooting. Guess that would be 5%, not good.
Laura Clark now dribbling it into the semicircle up the left for Michigan. We get a contact call on Clark. It'll be Penn State ball. They race it forward. Here come the Nittany Lions. Gemma Punch fighting for it for Penn State. She loses it, and Pilar Oliveros gets a pass to the circle, and nothing is doing. And yeah, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist, Adam, to realize that 20 shots and 1 goal is a pretty bad conversion rate.
Yes, it is. Compare that to Penn State's. For most of the game, it was 100%. Now it's down to only 66. But
yeah, Penn State battling for it. Michigan gets a call. Rosie Hope will try to do something. She sends it forward. Sarah Pertek right by the right corner. Pertek into Rosie Hope. Steady with it. Hope trying to make a turn. Number 19 for Penn State, Rosie Hope, flips it into the semicircle, deflection in. Katie McLaughlin trying to find something. And we get another penalty corner.
time's ticking down. 8 minutes, 5 seconds left in this game. I know it's time enough for one shot, but ideally they'd like two to win it in regulation. And here we go, another corner. Penn State only has one corner, and they converted on that one.
Katie McLaughlin will send it in. Michigan down 2-1 here to number 6 Penn State. The Wolverines trying to get their dilly-dilly celebration moment here. McLaughlin sends it in to Pula. Anouk Veen, the shot from the top. No good. We have contact. It'll be another penalty corner for Michigan. But that was the exact set, though, that they ran earlier, Adam.
Yeah.
With Katie McLaughlin sending it into a Pula and then Anouk Veen trying to take the shot.
They could do this all day, and I think they'll still get the same results. I just not okay, this time they're mixing it up. They're taking the corner on the other end. Maybe this is what they need to change it all up.
From the right end, Katie McLaughlin, number 16, the junior for Michigan, fires it in. It is a different play. Abby Tammer trying to do it on her own. A back foot flick, no good. Over the goal.
That would have gone on to State.
It was deflected out, though, so it'll be Michigan ball. Pilar Oliveros to Zarilla. The referees blow their whistle for something, and now we're underway. Pilar Oliveros. Michigan has almost their whole team here in this final third. Katie McLaughlin now. Back to the goal. Turns. Flicks it in. Abby Tammer had a shot at it, but no, we get a high stick warning, so it'll be Penn State ball.
Another opportunity squandered. 22 shots, only one goal.
Here comes Alessi for Penn State. She has it stolen by Catherine Peterson. Here comes Michigan. Pertek tried to find Nina Apula, but Apula couldn't handle onto that. It'll be Penn State ball. Emily Farrell isn't really that interested in, taking this quickly for Penn State. She flicks it up forward. Catherine Peterson gets a high stick there. And Alessi for Penn State will look around for her teammate. She lofts it up. Finds her teammate Gladio. Apula steals it back, but it goes out of bounds. Penn State playing a possession game here. Gladio dribbles it forward into a number 11, Megan Reese. She flicks it out to number 17, Anna Simon for Penn State, who then hits it out off of Pilar Oliveros. Gemma Punch will take her time on the right sideline for Penn State. She tries dribbling it forward a little bit, cuts it back in, and has it deflected out, I believe, off of Michigan. Yes, it will be Penn State ball.
Clock is still ticking, under 6 minutes left. Penn State's kind of been burning clock all game, and they seem to continue to do so.
They're saying, actually, it'll be Michigan ball, a little overturn on the field here by the officials. 5:50 to go in Ocker Field in Ann Arbor. Michigan hustling forward here is Katie Anderson up the left sideline. She will dribble it into play back to Pilar Oliveros. They'll try to switch the field to Anouk Veen. Veen sends it into the middle to Zarilla. Up forward to Catherine Peterson. Great pass to Nina Apula. Can they make something happen this time? Apula ahead to Abby Tammer. Has it deflected. We'll see what the call is. It's Penn State ball. 2-1 Nittany Lions lead your Michigan Wolverines here in field hockey. Kelsey Love with the ball for Penn State. She hits it forward to Alessi. Alessi out wide to Anna Simon. She throws it forward. A great pass ahead to Gemma Punch. Can she keep it in bounds? Yes, she can. Then nutmegs her defender. But Michigan gets it back. Anouk Veen with a great bit of defense there. Back and forth we go here with Pilar Oliveros at her own left corner, trying to just get it out of there. Clock continues to tick. 4:30 to go. Michigan sends it forward. Here comes Laura Clark. She had the only Michigan goal in this game. She'll try to find a teammate. get some official calls.
I think we're going to have a substitution potentially coming up.
Yep, that is the call. Anna Speaker will come out. Michigan will go with another field player. No goalkeeper right now for the Wolverines.
This is bold with 4 minutes left.
It's bold, but you got to be thinking maybe Pankratz, the head coach for Michigan, is thinking, we've had 21 shots this game that haven't gone in. Maybe we need one more on the field.
Yeah, Penn State's only at 3, so it doesn't seem unreasonable to think Michigan could keep them from scoring again. 4 minutes, 10 seconds left. Penn State leads 2-1. Michigan sans goalie for the final couple minutes of this game.
Alessi for Penn State throws it forward to the corner. Penn State's playing possession. Gemma Punch is just going to try to dribble it out. This is what happens in soccer in stoppage time, where you try to completely waste the clock at the corner flags. Punch continues to try to dribble it out. She's doing a great job at wasting that clock down. Has it deflected out, it'll still be Penn State ball. Punch now. Runs straight into a defender. Actually, that's Anna Simon for Penn State. Continues to try to play the possession game. The Wolverines sending everybody at her. But Penn State continues to hold on to the ball. Simon.
Clock is ticking down, 3 minutes, 15 seconds.
The Wolverines are in danger of falling to 3-3 on the season. Penn State continues to hold on to it. There we go. There's a call. Michigan now. Is this their chance? Laura Clark wanted to keep it going. Instead, I think we're going to get a green card. Yes, we are. And she's going to have to come out of the game. That's Anna Simon for Penn State getting a green card.
That could be the spark Michigan
The
needs.
Nittany Lions are not happy with the call. But nonetheless, it is the call on the field. Michigan now, Laura Clark at midfield. Sends it forward into Catherine Peterson. She fires it up. Michigan into the semicircle with, oh my goodness, Tina D'Angelo lost it. Abby Tammer now on the left sideline.
2:40.
Cuts it in. Tammer forward. Here we go. Michigan, can they get a shot? No. In the semicircle. It looked like for a second Katie McLaughlin might be able to. Now Gladio for Penn State. Has it intercepted by Michigan. Pilar Oliveros. 2:20 to go in Ann Arbor. 2-1 Penn State over the Michigan Wolverines. Pilar Oliveros has it on the left end for Michigan. Sends it forward. Abby Tammer tries to find a pass into the circle. She can't. Gets hit out of gets hit into a Penn State defender, but that'll be a brief penalty. Michigan's going to bring off Tina D'Angelo. Wolverines trying to make anything happen. Tammer dribbling it around, deflected out of bounds. It's Michigan ball, corner. Laura Clark now to Tammer. Tammer tried sending it in, no. Deflected all over the place. Laura Clark loses it on the corner. And Gemma Punch just throws it forward for Penn State. Michigan's going to switch the field here. Nuke Veen fires it up the right end. Penn State deflects it out of bounds. Nina Pula now. Near the right corner. Flicks it into the semicircle. Katie McLaughlin doing her best to control this. Can she find a teammate? Back to Apula. Apula sends it in. And kicked out by Penn State. Apula still battling for it. My goodness, what great field hockey is this?
1 minute left. Michigan down to their final couple chances.
Oliveros sends it in to the semicircle. Can Katie Anderson get a shot? She does, but it's over the goal. The clock's going to continue to run here. Penn State's going to be keen on wasting a little bit of time. We have 2 balls on the field. And Penn State doesn't really care if they continue to run the clock out. 49.5 seconds here. They stop it momentarily and reset it now. Penn State just lofts it into Michigan's own end. Nuke Veen is running for her life. 40 seconds and counting. Can Michigan get that equalizer? This will probably be their last chance. 30 seconds now for the Wolverines. Nino Pula set. Oh, my goodness. Michigan hits it straight out of bounds. It'll be Penn State ball.
That might be it.
That could be it. Penn State flicks it over on the left sideline. Rosie Hope on her own end. 14 seconds and counting. Apula's got to turn and make a play real quick. Sends it quickly into Catherine Peterson. It's 7 seconds throws it forward, it gets stolen. That's probably it. Penn State is going to come in Ann Arbor. As the clock runs out, that is game. The number 7 Penn State Nittany Lions field hockey team has come into Ann Arbor and beat the number 7 Wolverines, the number 6 Penn State Nittany Lions. 2-1 is your final score here at Ocker Field.
That's a heartbreaking loss. And I think what's most heartbreaking about it is everyone in attendance, everyone watching, everyone listening on our radio. Michigan controlled the momentum for the entirety of the game. Just look at the shots alone. Michigan, 23 shots. Penn State, 3. When you got 20 more shots than the opponent and you lose by 1 point, just not a great afternoon. So we're going to stay on air for the next 15 minutes or so until the regularly scheduled programming picks up right at 7. But for those tuning in, Michigan just lost 2-1 against the number 6 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions here at Ocker Field.
And, this is one game that, Adam, you kind of bring up a good point of how this is just such a heartbreaker because it seemed like Michigan was the better team. Is this almost one of the games that you'd rather lose by knowing that you're the worst team than having, like you said, 20 more shots than Penn State and still walking out of here with a loss?
Yeah, I know. And it's
just
tough
a killer.
because Michigan played great. It just wasn't enough when you can't finish.
Yeah, and, that's something that we said during this broadcast. The Wolverines certainly missing out on their graduating senior from last year. Sophia Gladio was one of the best players that this Michigan field hockey program has seen in a very long time. She had 49 points last season, the leading goal scorer, 23 to the next highest 5 goals scored by a Wolverines player. They're lacking that, and it's quite clear they had all the chances. Adam, is this a matter of you have the defense, you have the goalie for sure in Anna Speaker, and you have a solid midfield? Is this a matter of they need that striker, they need that, center forward to finish off these chances?
That's exactly it. And when a striker could come in a lot of handy is on those penalty corners. Michigan had 10 of which, unable to put any of them in. Penn State only had 1 perfect conversion rate, got that one in. Only 3 shots on goal from Penn State, and they got 2 of them. It's going to be a long weekend for Michigan until they come back on Sunday and try to even things up on the weekend series.
Yeah, the Wolverines will be playing against Cornell in the cardiac awareness game this Sunday at 2 p.m. here at Ocker Field in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And, what a tough turnaround for Michigan. They lost to number 5 Louisville last Sunday, a team that I was here for their game that Michigan had against Louisville last year, one of the best games of the field hockey season, in which at the time number 3 Michigan beat number 2 Louisville 2-1. They lost that game this year, 2-1 against number 5 Louisville on Sunday. They come back. Everyone's thinking they have a chance to really flip the script here against number 6 Penn State team that's coming into Ann Arbor. They're not able to get it done. How does Michigan turn this season around? They're not usually at 500 this early in the year.
I know. They're not usually at 500 at any point in the year, but it's tough because if the adjustments were easy, they'd be made. Michigan is looking really good. They have a lot of the pieces. You mentioned the goalie. You mentioned the midfield. It just is, at the end of the day, if you can't find the back of the net on 10 corners and 23 shots, I don't know what to tell you. Like, aim better. It's not that simple. It's you got some of it is luck, certainly. Some of it is props to Penn State. They played a phenomenal defense. They swarmed Michigan on every opportunity. They made sure, even if they had to take some extra penalties just to put their team on the line and prevent any ball from making its way through, that's what they had to do, and that's what they did. So Penn State has a well-earned victory as they'll go to 5-1, and Michigan falls to 3-3 after this game.
Yeah, it doesn't really get too much better for Penn State than to show up at one of the best teams in field hockey one of the best teams in the country, Michigan, a program that has been a mainstay in the quarterfinals and further of the NCAA tournament. So for Penn State to show up and beat the number 7 team in the country at their home, that is a big-time win for the Nittany Lions. This was the first conference game for both of these teams. Michigan will fall to 0-1, whereas Penn State will improve to 1-0 and 5-1 on the season. Listen, when you look at the Big Ten as a whole, Adam, we've said it before how great this conference is for field hockey. It really doesn't get better than this in the world of field hockey. Michigan's going to have all the opportunities to turn it around. But if you're Marcia Pankratz, what do you say to your team after a just heartbreaking loss like this?
It's really tough at home to do that first Big Ten game of the season. It's not what you want to see. It's not a ton you could say, honestly. Guess try and forget about it. Go back to the fundamentals. But even that, their fundamentals look solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing maybe that they can hold their heads about in this game is that it's a good thing that this happened now rather than later in the year, right?
Guess so. Maybe this is the spark that the team needs. Wake-up call, so to speak. But it's a really tough Big Ten. It's a really tough Big Ten, and they got some games coming up. They're playing Maryland next week in College Park. That's the number 3 team in the nation. They're facing off against them. Playing Rutgers as well on the road. Ball State as a non-conference game. That'll be at home, and that should be some good practice for them. I don't anticipate Michigan getting much trouble. Going on the road to Michigan State. Michigan shouldn't have much trouble with that either. Michigan State already beaten them earlier this season, 8-0. It was an exhibition, I believe, but still to win 8-0's huge. But then playing at the end of the season, they got a really tough stretch. They play Northwestern in Evanston, and then that is immediately followed also in Evanston, so kind of a neutral site game against Iowa. So another great team. So they're playing Iowa at home, then they go to Northwestern to play Northwestern. And then in Evanston, they stay there and play a neutral site. So those 3 games, 1, 2, 3, all within the span of 7 days of each other, that's going to be a tough stretch. And Michigan would be very lucky to come out of that with 1 or even 2 wins.
And you got to be looking at it in terms of the national view of things right now for Michigan, that if, you know, they're to really turn around this season and get things going again, you know, like you said, they have that really difficult 3-game stretch in mid-October that maybe you rely on to build up your resume for the NCAA tournament later. But, you know, they're playing some teams that they should be beating up until then. Teams like you said, Michigan State, Ball State, Indiana, a Rutgers team that was very solid last year, but we don't know too much about this year. And so Michigan's got to be looking at all these games, including the Maryland game, that, you know, they got to get through these relatively unscathed.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough stretch. I think Michigan is really just struggling to find their offensive firepower after last year's loss.
Yeah, last year, a great team that Michigan had, by the way. I know we mentioned it on the broadcast, but this was a Michigan team that reached the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament, lost to Harvard.
They were favorites to go even further. That was kind of a shocking loss to
Michigan
Harvard.
was the number 3 team in the country last year at the end of the year.
Not only that, the whole tournament was hosted here in Ann Arbor, so it was home turf, which matters a lot in these playoff situations.
Most definitely. And, you know, Michigan is certainly no stranger to heartbreak as of recent years in the NCAA tournament. Like we said, of this past year, the year before, in which they lost, I believe, in the semifinals to Louisville. And so, you know, it's a team that is always at the top of the national rankings, always up there. We'll see if they can get it fixed back in the right direction. They have a head coach in Marcia Pankratz, who is in her 23rd season as head coach for the Michigan Wolverines. I guess in terms of any players, Adam, what players specifically do you rely on, or that, you know, need some really big steps, I guess, at front for Michigan to start scoring these goals and get things going.
Ooh, I don't know about goal scoring, but Anderson maybe as the
Katie
fifth-year
Anderson.
senior, definitely a leader on the team, definitely good presence in the offense.
Maybe a Nuke Veen on those penalty
Yeah,
corners,
Veen too.
even though she tends to play like the sweeper role for Michigan back on defense. You know, we said it many times on this broadcast that Michigan had those penalty corners in which Katie McLaughlin would hit it into Nina Pula, who would then leave it off for Nuke Veen, and Michigan could not score a single one of those.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a Nuke Veen.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a lot of development from across the team just to come back from this devastating loss. Anyone in attendance, I said this earlier, anyone in attendance could tell you Michigan should have won this. At home, playing the way they did, controlling possession for most of the game like they did. It should have been an easy win. They should have been up 5-2, 5-1, but just unable to finish, and Penn State made the most of their opportunities, and that's all she wrote.
And, you know, maybe sometimes, you know, you can take a lot of big lessons from games like these. For example, Penn State's second goal, which seemed like a lifetime ago, by the way, at the end of the first half, came with 30 seconds left in that half. Maybe Marcia Pankratz looks at that and says, you know, listen, we cannot have those late last-second goals at the end of the first half. It seemed like Michigan had almost completely lost focus. They had become complacent there in that first half, or at the end of that first half, thinking that they were just going to get to halftime with this thing tied up at 1.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I think the complacency is a big part of this, too. And ever since then, Michigan was playing from behind, and we saw it. They might still be playing right now if Michigan didn't get complacent there and kept it close. But Penn State, props to them for making the most of that opportunity, sensing the opportunity there to take the lead and just sit on it the whole second half. They only got one shot off the whole second half. They didn't even have to shoot it, really. Just play defense and make sure that Michigan didn't find the back of their own net. And that was the winning strategy at the end of the day.
Yep, and like we said, the Wolverines will be back at it again this Sunday against Cornell at 2 p.m. Marcia Pankratz and crew from Michigan will be trying to turn it around. And we have just a few minutes left here, Adam. Any last thoughts or last things that you look at and point to as to, you know, things Michigan needs to change or possibly another reason in which they lost this game?
I think we hit a lot of the reasons, especially the scoring and offense in general. But it's a really solid team. To hold the number 6 ranked team in the nation to only 3 shots, that is pretty commendable. They didn't give up many errors, only 1 penalty corner. So the ball, like, it wasn't forced that way. But it's games like this are just really tough pills to swallow. They come around, and it's just real tough at the end of the day.
Yeah, and, you know, maybe it's also games like these that are character-building experiences for this relatively young team. You know, they lost a decent amount of starters last year, but it seems like it's full of juniors or redshirt juniors, a lot of players on this team that will probably be back next year. And Anna Speaker, the goalie for Michigan out of Berlin, Germany, finishing up her post-game interviews on the field briefly. Speaker, how about that? I think maybe if there's a player of the game, is it Anna Speaker? I mean,
Yes.
Again, she didn't get tested too much, but she did have that one big-time save in the first half.
I would say that's the player of the game, easy.
Yeah.
And like, when you get pulled and you have to watch your team from the sidelines, I guess as a goalie, you never want to be the deciding factor and be up in it. But she kept that game close when it could have been out of hand.
Yeah, most definitely. And I guess maybe another player to mention On the Penn State side, Sophia Gladio, an absolutely fantastic game. She had the second goal for the Nittany Lions. She is just really quick with the ball between her feet and at her stick. She is fantastic with it. Had that big second goal and then did a great job with the possession there at the end for Penn State and running the clock out. You're listening to WCBN FM on 88.3. We want to say thank you to everybody for listening. Adam, last thoughts.
Yeah, tune into volleyball starting right now on WCBN2 on YouTube, and have a good night and go blue.